So I've progressed my game a little bit. I think I'll show you where we're up to and give you some suggestions on what you can do. So I've added a time attack element to it. So I've still got a certain number of coins to collect, but as you can see at the top, I've got a bar which is counting down. I can get a time bonus by picking up these mushrooms quickly, which gives me an extra 2 seconds. Basically, I've got 10 seconds to collect the lot. And if the time runs out, which is just about to, it says out of time. Just to talk about the things that are in place to make that happen. Firstly, I nicked this from their examples. They've got an on-screen timer. So they set themselves up with a self.total time in the init, and they set that to 0. And in the update, they add on delta time. There's an interesting thing about this on update function. It knows how long it is since it last fired. That's this delta time thing here, which is really useful when you don't know how many frames per second you're running at. You can just make it always behave in the correct way because you know how long it is. So in this case, we just add on to our total time the time since we were last here. So that's keeping track of the time. And then I use that timer variable. I'm basically just checking against it. In fact, what I do is I subtract. I think I set my self.total time to like 10 and then subtract the delta time. So it goes down rather than up. I wanted it to be that way. And then they have got this thing where they do the minutes and they calculate the minutes and seconds from it using a bit of maths. And they create an output line and they draw that text at the bottom. I had that originally. What I found was whenever I draw text to the screen, it drops a couple of frames and it just like glitches for it briefly. And I looked it up and it does seem to be a slow action is drawing text on the screen. So that's why I went to the line being drawn across. And I used this here. There's a couple of items here to draw lines. And somewhere in here, let's see if we can find it, arcade.drawLine. So this gives you the start coordinates and the end coordinates. So basically, I always start at the same place. The y coordinate never changes for the end, but the x coordinate is, I think I do like that delta time multiplied by 100 or something, probably 100, something like that. And from there, it's relatively easy as well to do things like, we already know how to create gems that bounce around the screen, and we know how to create bombs that bounce around the screen. Am I running this? I thought I was running this. Shift F5. Yeah. Gems, bombs. So we can also create time bonuses that bounce around the screen. Oh, that's so annoying. So there's one right there. I didn't actually make these bounce. I make them just go straight off the screen because it becomes part of the gameplay as you're partly trying to collect the gems, but also in amongst that you have to collect the time to give yourself enough time to collect the gems. You'll notice I seem to have forgotten to stop the time bonuses from spawning once the game is over, so I should change that, shouldn't I? One of the things is about how often these spawn. I've made it randomly. What I have is something like if random.random is less than 0.01, then it spawns a new time bonus and appends that to my list of time bonuses. So, it's constantly generating random numbers, and only when it's very, very small does it actually generate one of these in the on update function. I hope that's enough to give you some ideas about what you could do in your game.